ready to have fun as well as gain knowledge. And also, please welcome on stage as country head, GrabAds, Grab Indonesia. Let's have a round of applause, Rajiv Singh. Welcome, welcome. And also, as head of integrated media and digital, Johnson & Johnson, please put your hands together, Mr. Albert Hendrajaya. Ladies and gentlemen, here are your speakers. The floor is yours.
Thank you. How's your day?
Great, man. Excellent.
Okay, because we have a very limited time and a very juicy, interesting topics to talk about, so let's get ahead. We're talking about the ever-evolving digital landscape with the rise of vertical video, the short-term video platform, connected TV that roll out nationwide. How this is actually impacted your omnichannel strategy for Ramadan?
You want to start?
I can start, yeah. So thank you for the questions. And hi, everyone. I'm Albert Hendrajaya. So it's a very interesting topic. But what I can see from the omnichannel landscape, right? Number one, definitely there is a rapid online consumer growth, right? And that is the fact. And with the whole pandemic, and now it's getting, basically that's the bonus that we can all benefit. It serves as an opportunity as well. So rapid growth on online consumer behavior. Then it also creates the whole expansion of online and offline, and therefore that's the rising omni-channel strategy and executions becomes even more important. And then the next one, right? It's basically the cross-border e-commerce. Because the whole point number one and number two, it creates the cross-border e-commerce. Then the whole social commerce is entering into the game.
Another kind,
right?
Another level.
Yes, yes, and as we talk more about Ramadan, the video consumptions will continue to increase, plus the social commerce that is even more powerful in that sense. And then what I can also see now, as we entering into a much more mature market of omnichannel, regulations is becoming also very important. So I think those are the 5 key points that I would like to share and observe when it comes to omnichannel. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pa Albert. Now, what about GrabAds seeing these changes in the market, in the behavior?
Okay, so how in Grab we are defining omni-channel as omni-commerce, okay? So let's look at food as an example.
That's a very good question, because the way I think many see this like just a various of channels.
Correct. But that's the wrong. The idea of omni-channels means single channel. But we are not saying that you advertise on one single platform and you are done with it. But the idea is to have a omni-channel marketing strategy which has closed loop measurements. So let me give an example. Let's say today a Grab user does, 94% of them actually will do an online research about a restaurant before even either buying online or offline.
True.
Okay? 55% of them actually will buy a voucher online, then go to an offline restaurant to do it. Now, these are amazing data to see how user behavior is changing. Now, just to give you another example to it, one of the biggest beverage company actually, which worked with us in last couple of months, did a sampling exercise. Now, sampling exercise would mean they have a product called Zero, and they want people to taste it, okay? And it was around about 500K samples, which was sent across via food. That means if you order a certain number of spicy food, you get that Zero product free with it. And also, if you are traveling in a car and then you get a chance to be sitting in a specific car, you will get those samples free. Now, so we have Fleet as an example of branding. Now, imagine that after doing that activity, so the idea was to do sampling activity online, sampling activity offline. Now, but at Grab, we are able to measure a sales upliftment for that specific beverage company on our platform. Now, how we do it is the data which we have. That means the samples were sent across to people online, as well as people when they were using cards, we had their IDs to just retarget them back on our platform to see whether they have bought that product in next 30 days or not. And it was a very effective campaign, and the brand right now wants to do 2.5 million samples on our platform.
No, that's very interesting. So omnichannel is not only about utilizing so many channels,
Yeah.
but actually how to make a loop.
Correct. So the idea is to make that loop for one single campaign to have cut across and have a measurement on it. So let's say hypothetically we give, Grab car 30% discount. It's on TV, but it's also on outdoor. It's also on, let's say, digital. But if it is not looped across for a single measurement, it is not omnichannel or omnicommerce for us.
It's just
normal marketing campaign.
just a normal marketing campaign. This is very interesting. Okay, so while we're at it, so how is actually you're using your unique access to user data, then you can share insights into how brands can actually leverage this data into getting more fruitful campaigns.
Okay, so a gentleman who was the first one to represent about and talk about Ramadan as in place, a lot of his data nearly works with the same what we have. We actually have a Ramadan Insight report. If anybody's interested, I can share that with you post the discussion. So just to give an example, 95% of people have breakfasting or buka puasa
On the road. No.
via Grab with in a group. Okay? Out of that, around about 80% of people will do it with their family. Okay? And 55% of people will do it with their friends. Now, this data is something which is very accessible to us because we know if you're ordering the food at home and it is a multiple quantity. And if you're ordering food at office and you know it's a multiple quantity. Now, these gives us insight on what people are doing. Now, let's say, now that's only food. Let's say in Ramadan, we know for a fact that people actually start planning for heavy travel at least 3 to 4 months or 4 weeks before Ramadan even starts. And that is why we see is, a behavior of checking on hotels and other stuff. Okay. We also see a lot of work happening on jewelry and home appliances via us. We can actually tell you an example of the user data you're talking about. One of the biggest or more expensive handset manufacturer actually started a campaign 15-20 days ago with specific targeting parameters of using people who are using one phone lower than that. So let's say if the phone they were trying to sell on our platform is, let's say, Lima Plus, and they want to do it Ampat Plus, so they were doing that kind of activity. So, and they had great results of it. Not only using that, they use the same data to do their earpiece advertising on the platform. And so if Netflix is targeting a series which is dedicated towards women audience, they can actually choose to do that.
So for the brands that here sitting in this room, we have just heard a very interesting insights from GrabAds. And what about Kenvue? Because your brands cater to various needs across different life stages. When we're talking about data, how do you ensure consistency in delivering message and communications and experience, while at the same time also tailoring a unique experience and personalized experience for diverse audiences?
Yeah. So in the spirit of Ramadan, right? We at Kenvue, formerly known as Johnson & Johnson, we basically reflected on how we try to win consumers every day, enhance competitiveness, and making an impact to our planet and also people, right? So in Ramadan, right, we reflected as well what is Ramadan for a lot of the people, right?
Especially for your consumers.
Yes, for consumers, right? It holds very deep in terms of spirituality, family and community, solidarity together, social gatherings, right? And when it comes to spirituality, it talks about cleanliness, right? And that's where we highlighted cleanliness, which is one of our portfolio, which is Listerine. We aim to encourage people to complete the clean with Listerine. Okay, complete the clean with Listerine. Kalau Senin itu kemarin, kalau habis nih mau ngobrol, kabarin. Okay, so that's like, the pantun kind of thing. It's basically very cultural for Indonesian. And it's commonly used as a starting point. It's also commonly used as a social gathering. So those are the things that we also want to build for Listerine. And that is one example from Listerine as a market leader that we continue to build stronger relevance. So it starts with the triple R, what we aim to achieve, right? Driving reach, relevance, and recognition. Yeah.
That's very interesting. What about if you're talking about that tap in the spirituality and also personalized experience to your consumers? What are the most interesting insights you found in the last 2 Ramadan?
Yeah. Again, coming from Listerine, right? We take into considerations where people during Ramadan, the video consumptions continue to rise. Right, especially again, like I mentioned earlier, the social commerce, there's a shifting behavior in the way people consume media and transact, right? Or they interact with brands. So what we see in the past few months, right? The video consumption and during Ramadan later on will continue to rise. So we need to establish strong mental availabilities. And storytelling becomes even more important for brands to stand out. Otherwise, Ramadan is a big month. People are investing in so many channels. But if we are not able to drive that relevance, we will lose the quality reach. We will lose the quality attention. So that's one of the things that we observe at Kenvue.
Interesting. What about in GrabAds? Can you please share us where a brand, because knowing that brands are now utilizing Grab's ecosystem as one of prominent driver in their performance campaign, how you would like to ensure that you capable to bring a unique experience to those brands?
Okay, so GrabAds actually as a vertical has 3 pillars. Okay, we have brands who are what we call as MACs, which is merchants. That means selling on our platform, which basically would mean food, MacD, Starbucks, and so and so, and all other brands which is available to us. Okay, which is roughly around more than 50,000 brands on our platform. Out of that, 10 to 15% of brands advertise on monthly basis. Okay. Those are very specific, performance-driven, what we call as ROS brands. That means return on advertising spends. Okay. Now, there are other brands, like in case, for example, which you're showing here is Malto, is a case where we actually are calling non-max brands. Brands who are not selling directly on our platform. So, given an example, that would be Samsung, Apple, Nestle, Malto, and others. So, like more than 100 brands at a given point of time. Okay. Now, in this specific case, which is Volto, the problem which we found out and the brand found out was anti-wrinkle. Okay. So when you're sitting in a car for a long period of time, your shirt gets turned to wrinkly, right? And let me show you the video, then I'll tell you about the case study.
Can we play the video?
Hubungan kusut kita nggak bisa bantu. Baju kusut bisa. Molto anti kusut spray mulai 15.000 di GrabMart. Pesan sekarang.
So this is.
Can I hear an applause?
Thank you very much. This is one of the case studies. This is one of the things which we had. The brand had a problem. We wanted to solve it. Now, if the creative which you saw actually was made by Grab team. It is not the brand's creative. The brand creative was different. It was running anyway parallelly on TV and other places. Now, we took this solution. We did a sampling activity in our fleet, which is roughly on more than 500K cars across Indonesia. We have a partner, which is called Sticken, a team, which is there, where they help us to make sure that these brands are actually, the sample is actually carried on specific places. It is addressed, as you can see from the, we did a social media platform, activity. So we did an entire 360-degree solutioning for them, and as well as had this solutioning to be shown across platform. Now, that also, thankfully, and thanks to MMA, we won a gold, award in Smarties.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for that. So that's the idea. Like I said, using a brand's problem or a requirement of a solution, we did an activity which is 360 degrees, or like I said, in this case, omnichannel across.
Creating a loop, so which I see also the relevancy here that probably match with one of your brands, Kenvue. Can you share us what kind of creative strategy or insights that you tap into your omni-channel Ramadan campaign, especially for this year, that is innovative compared to the last years?
By the way, very interesting campaign, right? I know we also have collaborations for this Ramadan. So when it comes to innovation, right? Innovation, we think of innovation beyond than just the product, right? So when it comes to the product itself, we are introducing our advanced variants through Multi-Protect Zero, where when we look at consumers today, they are more exposed to Listerine Cool Mint. It's more of the intense taste. But you will be seeing a lot of our advertisement as well, working with unlocking the power of influencers and also winning the category entry points, just like what we also collaborate with Grab as well, right? In establishing that, mental availabilities and ensuring the physical availabilities are also strong. Right, so that's from the product itself. We introduced the advanced variant, the 6 benefits in one, right? So that's on the product. On the media side, we also explore innovations not just from the media partner, but also from the new buying methodologies. So
this is interesting. New buying methodology.
Correct. So we actually had a global case study. It's fresh. It's 3 days ago. It's our collaboration as well with Google, and the new methodologies is that we are able to increase 19% of incremental in reach and 25% lower CPM, and able to deliver 3.9 uplift in terms of our ad recall just by boosting or upgrading the Video Reach campaign or VRC 1.0 to Video Reach campaign VRC 2.0. So those are the 2 things that when it comes to innovations, one is the product and also the new buying methodology that we wanted to focus on and really scale up the executions excellently.
That's interesting. So what is the changes that you see bringing you the most impact? Would it be the innovation on the product itself, or reshaping your target market or target audience, or changing the channels?
Wow, interesting. It's a combination of many things.
A little bit of this and that.
Yeah. For us, we at Kenvue, we focus on how do we win consumers every day by establishing or strengthening the mental availabilities, right? And by that, we expand our target audience. So in the past, we are targeting young adults, but now we're expanding to a wider target audience, even to the younger or basically teens as well. So 18 plus. So it's a expand targeting audience, right? And then secondly is that how we really establish a strong integrations between online and offline, winning in the category entry points as well. So those are, I think, optimizing, strengthening the fundamental when it comes to mouthwash, obat kumur. It has to be because we're the market leader, but how do we really maintain that navigations across our media touch point, so that when it comes to that mouthwash or oral category, Listerine is easily found. Yeah.
And you cannot make such decision without data. And in GrabAds, how you actually manage the data so the brands can make decision what they have to do to make sure that their omni-channel strategy is going to be impactful.
Okay, so let me give you a classic example of a brand called Dubai Tourism. Now, Dubai Tourism wanted to do a campaign which is in Indonesia for international travelers, makes sense, but only international travelers who are using Etihad Airways, Singapore Airlines, and others. Now, Grab does not sell air tickets, okay? But what Grab does is actually send cars to various terminals. Now, what we did, we gave them a targeting parameter of people who have used cars to go to T3 terminal, which is the one which actually has expensive aircraft. So we have the data, and we showed them the data, and this is how the Dubai Tourism gave us a massive campaign in last quarter. So we have insights of a user behavior, whether it comes to food, travel, going to malls, or anything else in terms of clicking and buying stuff, right? Our users are not watchers. At a given point of time, if 3 people are coming to Grab, and two of them will be transacting on our platform. So we have user data which starts from looking versus putting in cart and also buying. Okay. Hence, we use these data points across sections of the. Let me give an example. So there was a classic Hyundai brand manager, guy was talking about how Hyundai is an example. Now, if a car guy wants to advertise on our platform, I would never suggest them to buy ad inventory on homepage. I would always tell them to buy in-transit inventory, which is when you book a cab, right? And the car is coming. You can see an ad there. Because that's a time which you actually want to look for a car, and you have a car ad coming to it.
Actively looking at your screen.
And you're a car traveler, right? So those are the indications which obviously we'll put, depending on what car model it is, we'll put the income filtering and so on and so forth.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about you ensuring the data that is actually available in online channels, offline channels, and then to actually tailor and consolidate all the data and making sure that you have a seamless, thorough data and hypothesis to also build your rationale for making decision.
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? Because when it comes to data, when it comes to data, there's so many things that we look at, right? But I think the most important thing is to be able to find what is the opportunities after we understand those data and really making a tangible actions about it, right? We see when it comes to omnichannel, the market share is different. For brands, market share is very important. We continue to drive penetration. So when it comes to opportunity, we look at how is the offline market share versus online market share. That two data alone is already different. So when we see there is a difference on those data points, that serves as an opportunity for brands to grow. So and usually the offline market share is higher than the online market share. So that is an opportunity for us with the fact that how can we really strengthen our strategy and executions. For us, if it's e-commerce, then we look at from the fundamentals, right? How can we really strengthen when it comes to the search, the content, the assortment, the ratings and reviews, right? Those are the key pillars as well. Exactly. So when we look at those data, we need to be very clear what are the opportunities that we can really improve on, so that when we have those data, we can establish a working rhythms, making sure that there is progress in the data that we track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing us the insights. If I may take highlights or key takeouts, is actually how to make not only about using so many channels, but to creating a loop. and the data is available out there, and how you're going to ensure that you can consolidate all the data so you can bring a more personalized, a more impactful, a more unique experiences for your consumers. Thank you for your time and
Thank
the
you.
insights.
Thank you very much, speakers. Can we have a round of applause? And once again, we'd like to invite our speakers to take a photo, a group photo, in front of the tables, if you may. And of course, once again, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speakers for your time and expertise on today's session of cross-channel engagement of consumers during Ramadan. Once again.